Well, from the brilliant mind of Matt Nix, creator and executive producer of the iconic hit series Burn Notice, comes the new USA series Complications. The show centers on a disillusioned suburban doctor who unexpectedly becomes a vigilante hero. But before I give too much away, we are joined this morning by the star of the show, actor Jason O'Mara. Jason, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Jason, you play a pretty complicated character with somebody dealing with a personal tragedy. You become this kind of unexpected vigilante hero. Will you tell us more about your role and kind of the background for your character?
Yeah, so following this tragedy, John Ellison, who's this ordinary Atlanta ER doctor, is feeling extremely powerless in his life. He's sort of just going through the motions, and he's not really connecting with anything that's happening around him. And he happens upon this drive-by shooting where a young boy named Antoine Tyler has just been shot in the street. And to defend himself and the boy, he ends up picking up a gun and killing the assailants. And this act of heroism, which I suppose should be celebrated, ultimately leads him down a rabbit hole of extremely dangerous situations. He ends up being forced to take care of this boy, far beyond what he was prepared to do, and keep him alive at all costs. There are other people who want him dead, and now there are people who want John dead, and there are people who are threatening his family. He can't go to the police because that will only make things worse. As you can see, it just gets ever deepening each week, and in fact it gets more and more intense, and each episode kind of builds on the last. So we're halfway through the season now, and it's getting very interesting.
Absolutely. And of course, you are joined by a very talented cast of actors, some faces that we might recognize. Who else is in the cast?
So Jessica Szohr, who plays Gretchen, is from Gossip Girl. You recognize her from that. Beautiful actress, very, very talented. Beth Riesgraf from Leverage, or Leverage, as you'd call it. She's in it. She's terrific as well. Brent Sexton from The Killing, Chris Chalk from Gotham and The Newsroom is in it, Lauren Stamile from Burn Notice. I mean, we've got a terrific cast.
Absolutely. Definitely a great cast, and a really kind of in-depth show that I know audiences are already just sucked into. Tell us, what are you hoping the audiences maybe take away from this series?
Well, I mean, I think ultimately, it's an exploration of this doctor who is forced to kind of take back control, to sort of intervene in his own life and the things that are happening around him. And I think everybody has gone through that point in their lives where they're like, do I just let all this stuff happen, or do I actually kind of step in here and try to change the outcome of a situation? How involved should I get? And obviously John gets extremely involved. But I think also there's a really great message about the society we live in, the violence that we're surrounded with on a daily basis, and what kind of effect that violence really has in destroying the things we love. So, but it's not done in a preachy way, it's not done in an overt way. It's sort of like a meditation of those thoughts that sort of starts to bleed through the episodes the more you watch. So on the surface, it's this very exciting, action-packed thriller, but sort of as you scratch the surface and get into it more, you realize that there are more subtle things being discussed, and sort of philosophical things are at play. So you can enjoy it just as a thrill ride, or it can even start to make you think, if that's what you're into.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, before I let you go, a lot of our viewers might be thinking, where have I seen him before? Now, we've seen you in Resident Evil Extinction, the movie, of course, One for the Money, one of our household's favorite shows, The Band of Brothers, that you were in as your television premiere, but your voice might also be familiar. You are the voice of a certain masked hero, is that right?
I'm Batman.
And there it is. We were waiting for it. Jason, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Now, Complications airs Thursdays on the USA Network. Stay where you are. The Morning Blend will be right back.